Good evening, everyone. Man, it is good to see you guys back online with us here on Living More with the Morgans. I am your host. My name is Landa Jeray Morgan, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And again, you are tuned into Living More with the Morgans. You guys, it has been a good minute since we've been on, you guys. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to get down to it. We got a lot of things to talk about, you guys, because we've been missing in action, babe, for the past couple of weeks. We've been missing in action, but it's all good. And the reason why is because life happens. And so if you don't know, now you know. Life is going to happen, but you know what? We are well equipped to be able to handle the fights and to handle the turmoil and handle all the turbulence that happens with life. And so you guys, we are here with an all new live episode of Living More with the Morgans. Y'all know how we do. Before we get into it, we got to give a shout out to everybody who is online, tuned in to several different channels right now. And right now you're probably tuned in on our main channels. They are on Facebook. Right now you're tuned in on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Living More Morgans. And you might be tuned into my personal page on Facebook, facebook.com/Landa Jeray Morgan. You can also check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Living More Morgan. Shout out to everybody who's on YouTube right now. Unfortunately, we don't have enough screens to see who's over there on YouTube, so we got to kind of click back and forth on our screen here. But if you're on YouTube, holla at us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications there on our YouTube channel. And you may be tuned in right now on our Twitter page. You can find us on Twitter live right now, twitter.com/Live More Morgans. Again, twitter.com/Live More Morgans. Now, I don't do a whole bunch of Twitter, but we want to get them Twitter numbers up because there's people out there that's on Twitter, and we need to reach them, you guys. And so if you are on Twitter, let's go ahead and get that thing back popping. Go to twitter.com/Live More Morgans. Hit that follow or hit that connect button on Twitter and connect with Living More with the Morgans on Twitter, you guys. We're also, right now we're not live there, but we're also on Instagram.
We are.
And so if you are on Instagram, definitely want to be following Living More with the Morgans. That's Instagram.com/Living More Morgans, at Living More Morgans. And then we're also on TikTok with the young people. TikTok is going down in TikTok. I think they showing us out there in Korea and China and stuff right now. So if you're on TikTok, let's hit that subscriber. Let's hit that follow, that connect button on TikTok, and hit us up there at tiktok.com/Living More Morgans. Again, we're all over social media, you guys. So y'all ain't got no
Even
excuse.
on my page. You forgot my page.
Oh, I forgot my baby's page. We're also on my wife's page, facebook.com/Rotunda Morgan. The one and the only. Thick and chocolatey Rotunda Morgan on Facebook, you guys. And so you guys can tune in on all those channels right now. Hit us up with your comments. Let us know that you can hear us. Let us know that everything is coming across clean and clear on your end. We want to make sure that the audio is popping. We want to make sure that the video, the visuals are looking good. You know, and you know how we got to do. We got to flex for them just in case, you know, they video feed ain't coming through right. So we just got to flex for them one more again. Let's go ahead and do it for the comeback because we've been gone for a little bit, and we're going to hit it like this. Okay, we're going to do one more. Okay, we're going to take it to the middle. And that's how we're going to do that there. And so now we're going to get busy with the show, you guys. So again, if you can hear us, if you can if you can see us loud and clear.
You see what kind of crazy stuff we have
with this right here. She comes up with this stuff off camera, you guys. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Living More with the Morgans. We're on several different channels. Get your peoples to go ahead and come in, hit it up on your wall, share it on your wall, let people know that Living More with the Morgans is on. And this is all clean. This is all, you know, ain't no vulgarity, ain't no profanity, ain't no cussing, ain't no fussing, all that. Ain't no, back and forth with politicking and all that different stuff. This is clean content. So, you know, but we do talk about some mature subject matter. So if the kids are up and if they're watching, you might want to close their ears. You might want to, you know, shove a book in their face or an iPad in their face right now, because this is adult content for the married folks, for the single folks, for the grown and the sexy. And we all know who the sexy and grown is up in the studio tonight already. She got her own, y'all, she got her own lipstick on. Why? Because my beautiful wife just celebrated a birthday last Friday. So give it up, you guys. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Rotunda Morgan. Another year older, another year beautiful, like fine wine.
Thank you, babe.
And like cheese, it's just getting better, better and better and better. You get, cheese, wine and cheese. It get better. It get aged cheese.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it. Okay.
So you guys, shout out to my wife.
Thank you, God.
Happy birthday on all of the channels right now. Hit it up with your comments. Let my wife know. I know she got that Cash App, and she didn't tell me to say this, you guys, but she got that Cash App, popping Cash App. Rotunda Morgan, the one and only you can find on there. And if you want to bless her, you can definitely do that. But you guys, we have been out of pocket for a little bit. And you know what, you guys, we have missed y'all. We have missed doing the show. We have missed just, man, life has been, been life, and that's what this show is about. This show is about living more. This show is about expressing what it is, that we personally have been going through, things that we have been able to overcome and that we're still in the process of overcoming, and so that we can help other people and bless other people by our testimony. Yes. Because if you ain't blessing other people with what you've been through and what you've endured, then what's the purpose of going through it if you're not going to help somebody else who is going through it or something similar? What you think about that, baby?
I absolutely agree, and that is one of the reasons why we do the show, because we want everyone to know you're not alone, going through things, going through life issues. We're all going through something, but we believe that we're going through it. We're not going to stay in it. So we want to make sure that you're encouraged. We want to make sure that you're uplifted. We want to make sure that we give you content and give you information and give you, wisdom on how to handle things as we have learned how to handle things in our marriage. And I just wanted to just say, life is, as you get older, I've heard people say, oh, it gets better and better. It does, but that doesn't mean the trials and tribulations and some of the things that life can bring to you are going to just stop. No, it doesn't. So we just want to just say, we're glad to be back. We're happy to be back. And we just bless you all that tune in. All of you guys, and I want to say this to those that do tune in and those who stand on the outside of the window and look in.
But don't click in.
But don't click in. We still appreciate you anyway, because we're not here to outdo anyone. We're here because this is something God told us to do. And this is something that we're doing for us, for our marriage, to grow it, to increase it in love and bliss and joy. And we want you all to have the same thing. And so that's really what I wanted to say for now. But I'm looking and I'm like, where is everybody? I want everybody to come in. If you could.
Guys come in.
Yes, and those that are in, please share it.
Share it on your wall, you guys. Please. Share it on your wall. Let people know that Living More with the Morgans is on. And right now, we're going to shout out to Mother Carolyn Myers is in the building. Mother Myers is in the building with Living More with the Morgans. Thank you so much for tuning in, Mother. And yes,
she said I made it.
Yes,
Yay.
she did. And she said everything is coming through clear and beautiful.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you so much, Mother Myers. And our girl Tamika Green Long is in the building.
Sis.
Longtime supporter, straight up, just always there, always on Living More with the Morgans, always cheering us on. Always a support. So thank you so much, and shout out to the Long family, to my man Russell, and to the kiddos.
They just celebrated birthdays.
Did they?
Amari and what's the other one name? Oh goodness, The doctor.
The doctor.
We just say the doc.
The doctor.
Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah, the doctor.
Okay.
They both just celebrated birthdays. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the kiddos.
Yes,
Indeed.
Indeed.
Got some brilliant kids, man.
Brilliant.
Now I don't know if you guys are taking the STAR test right now.
They are.
Okay, so I know a lot of kids are taking the STAR test in Texas. So
Yes.
if you have kids or grandkids or kids that you know that are taking the STAR test right now in the exams, we want to be praying for them and keeping them lifted, man, because it's a lot of anxiety.
Yes.
Even these kids are having. Even these kids are stressed out over these tests nowadays.
Yes.
And so we just want to keep them lifted, keep them encouraged as they go in and take these exams.
Yes,
Particularly here in the state of Texas. I don't think it's nationwide, but I know right here in the state of Texas, they are taking some exams. And so shout out to the kids.
Yes.
We want them to get these good grades. We want them to ace these tests.
Yes.
Especially our kids of color.
Yes.
We want to show the world that we do have intelligent minds and big brains, and we can do anything that anybody else can do, and we can do it better. And so shout out to our kids that are taking the STAR test right now.
And shout out to our god baby, Jasmine.
Absolutely.
She is definitely taking it. So shout out to Jazzy.
Tamika
G-Mom and G-Dad love you. You can do it.
Tamika got a question mark on her. Man, we forget names and everything. Go there. She said, I have to send you guys Jacob's pic with his cowboy hat. Absolutely. Go ahead and shoot that over.
Shoot it over.
Shoot it over to us. And we definitely want to shout out to the little man and the entire family. But you guys, again, thank you so much to those who are tuned in on the different channels. We will try to click back and forth and shout you out if you guys are on.
Yes.
If you are on YouTube, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. And if you're not on our YouTube channel, you need to be subscribing. YouTube is where it's at. We've got some new content that's going to be coming there on YouTube. YouTube Shorts, different things that we're going to be having exclusively on our YouTube channel. So you don't want to miss what's going to happen on Living More with the Morgans on our YouTube channel. So you guys definitely want to subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications so that when you know when we're coming on or we upload a new video, you're the first one to know, you guys. And so, oh man, we got a good one tonight. And like I said, we've been out of pocket for a little bit, but you know, it's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike.
Once you get back in that seat and you start pedaling a little bit, you got it. You guys, tonight's show, we're going to deal with a topic that really kind of hits home with us.
Yes.
Particularly with what we have been enduring and going through the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
And tonight's show is called In Sickness and in Health. And I think tonight, I really want to get into... I want to dive deep into the marriages tonight and my fellow married folk because, man, right now, particularly in America and probably around the world, marriage is really under attack. The sanctity, the holy matrimony of marriage is really under attack right now, and it probably has been for a minute. It's more prevalent now because it's so pronounced on social media and on television and all the media outlets that we have right now. But I think it's been like this for a while. And I say that because I can remember, being in my early 20s. I'm in my 40s now, and being in my early 20s, and I could remember hearing the statistics, particularly about Christian marriages, where a lot of them were ending up in divorce. 50% divorce rate in Christian marriages. And I don't think that's changed. It's probably gone up. I would hope it hasn't, but it probably has because, we both know this, even during COVID, we were seeing people that we thought were going to be together forever was calling it quits. I mean, it was Splitsville during COVID. It's like they weren't catching the virus. They was catching feelings, in other places, and they was like, I'm out. And so we really need to talk about the union of marriage, man, why it's so important, because we're losing them.
Right.
And we're losing them. Sometimes we're losing them over trivial stuff that we can easily fix. Right. If we would just take the time to really communicate and fix it.
Right.
It's
that's the key, the communication.
Exactly. And I equate this to, all of the epidemics that we would hear about in Africa, how there would be poor people that were dying of common illnesses that we had over-the-counter medicines for here in America and in the West.
Right.
And you would hear about people dying over just trivial stuff, a headache, you know, a toothache, or just something that we easily had medication for, inexpensive medication, $2 medication over the counter that could have healed and helped people. And I equate that to marriages because a lot of times all we need is real, just thorough communication.
Right.
Somebody needs to just drop their pride and say, you know what, I'll take the medicine.
Right.
You know.
Right. And yeah, you're right about the divorce rate especially in Christian marriages. It's skyrocketed. You know, there was marriages that, like you said, we thought were going to be together forever. We didn't see any signs of any issues, and all of a sudden they're divorced, or hey, we're getting a divorce. And for me, as a person who loves family, especially want to see marriages, you know, definitely win, it's very hurtful to me. But at the same time, like you said, we have to understand what marriage means. Right. You bring in two people from two different worlds, two different lives, raised in probably different areas, you know, different backgrounds, and you bringing them and you're coming together. But when you come together, there's going to be some issues. Oh yeah. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to address, and it can't be, oh, it's you. No, it's us. It's us. It's us. What can we do to fix it?
Absolutely.
You know?
And I think about when you were saying that, how in marriage you're actually not just marrying one another, but you're marrying families.
You're marrying families.
If a woman already has children, or if the man already has children, you are blending, you are merging that together.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like, you know, in my head, I can see like someone making a cake, right? And you're taking different ingredients that are solid ingredients that stand alone.
Right.
But when you bring them together in order to make this cake or whatever it is that you're making, you have to beat that stuff together.
Absolutely.
It has to go through
It has to blend.
It has to blend. It has to go through a process, and it's usually not a pretty process.
No.
When you're making a cake, you got a blender going, you got all these different things going. Why? To bring these solid ingredients to make them become one.
Right.
And that takes a process.
It does.
And it takes patience in order to do that.
It does.
And so the same thing when it comes to marriages is that are we being patient?
Right.
And are we taking the time, and first of all, are we counting the costs getting into our marriages with an understanding that, this is going to take time to blend.
Right.
If she's got kids or he's got kids and I don't have kids, like it was with us, it took time to blend that.
It did.
Because I was used to my own bachelor world. You were previously married, you had a child, so you were used to being a mother. And a nurturer and being the head of the household, because of that situation. So here it is. I'm coming from bachelor pad, single, women, blah, blah, blah. And I'm merging with the woman who already knows how to be a wife, knows how to be a mother, knows how to take care of her child. We got to beat all this together. And we got to beat up egos. We got to beat up pride. We got to beat up what we think we should do, how I think I should do it, how you think you should do it. All that has to be beaten up in this pot to make something smooth.
That's right.
That's going to be edible. Because if not, ain't nobody just going to eat a chunk of flour over here.
No, of course
you
not.
dig? And ain't nobody just down some egg yolks. No, we got to bring that together in order to make something that's going to be beautiful and that's edible for everybody to enjoy.
Right.
But that takes patience, and it takes the willingness to say, you know what? This hurts. In some areas, it's painful. I don't know how to communicate this way. I need to admit that I need some therapy in this area. I need some discipline in this area. I don't know what I'm doing in this area. Right. It takes really looking at your ingredients and saying, if I want to make this work, I'm going to have to look at myself and look at what I'm bringing to the table, look at what I'm bringing into the marriage, and find out what's going to fit you. You find out what fits me, and let's blend this thing together like it needs to be.
And this can't be a selfish thing. I don't care if, and you said something that is so good. I don't care if you're single, bachelor, or you've been, it's you and your girls. I don't care anything about that, because when it becomes you and someone else, you marry a husband or you marry a wife, all of that's out the door.
Right.
It's no longer about me, and what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But, just to get to what we wanted to talk about tonight as well, in sickness and in health.
Right.
Once, all these things you're talking about, merging, bringing two worlds together, bringing two people together with families and all of that, and all the things that go with that. And then in the midst of that, you're going through, life. Life is happening. People are dying, and people are sick. You have family members that are sick. Your spouse might be sick, going through illness. Your children might be going through illnesses. All kind of things are being thrown at you. Somebody's getting laid off from a
Right.
job they've been at for years. It could be the provider of the home, the man, and he feels downtrodden. He feels like, what am I going to do? And then the woman, she, you're going through losing babies, women, and, couples trying to have kids, and they still can't get there, and
Right.
there's no children, year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth and so on. All these things are going on. Then it looked like this country is going in a disarray. Things are happening. You can't go to the malls. You can't go hang out and enjoy your life without being, looking over your shoulder every minute, trying to bite a hot dog and looking back and
Right.
bite another piece. All these things that are coming at us. And in the midst of that, you're trying to be married.
Right.
You're trying to be married. You're trying to have that love and that bliss, and in the dream that, see that dream that you have for your marriage come to fruition with all of these things that are hitting you. How do we, as married people, even those that are thinking about getting married, these are things that I'll tell you now. When we got married in Oahu, in Hawaii, 9 years ago next month, in a little lagoon, private lagoon, we got married. Oh, the ceremony was beautiful. When the day before we went to get our marriage license down at the marriage place in Hawaii, all that was great. All of that was fun. The dress, the hair, and the makeup, all of it was wonderful. My husband looked wonderful and just handsome in his tux. But let me tell you something. After that, I do, it's going to be, this is happening. That's happening. Life is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
It's not just going to be, it's going to be you dancing and running off in the sunset.
No, after that I do, it's going to be, do you really?
Do you really?
After you say I do,
Right.
it's some things that are going to hit you that's going to make you think and say, do I really?
Do I really?
And see, I'm glad you said that, because one of the things, and I kind of want to give a little bit of history real quick.
Sure.
When we here in the West, when we give our vows, a lot of our wedding vows, when we say the wedding vows, they are derived from the Catholic Church. Okay. And this, and hear me very well when I say this. This is no slight to our Catholic brothers and sisters. I'm not saying that to slight that at all. But what I am saying is that a lot of the traditional marriage vows are based off of Catholicism.
Right.
And things that have somewhat been taken out of context in Scripture. Now, we can debate that, but you can go and study that in depth, and you will find that there are some things in the traditional marriage vows that are not scriptural. What do I mean by that? In our vows, in our traditional marriage vows, one of the things we say is for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health. Those things aren't necessarily scriptural based.
No, it's not.
It sounds like they are.
Yeah.
Because we've heard it so much, and it's been performed in churches and cathedrals millions of times around the world.
Right.
But it's not necessarily based in scripture, because if you look at scripture, the Bible says that you shall be the head and never the tail, above only and never beneath. And so why is it that in our vows that we're taking for one another in matrimony, we are throwing in poorer?
Yes.
When Jesus said, you know, the poor need to rejoice, for
Right.
you are rich.
Right.
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 And I'm not even getting into that, because people will say, oh, well, Jesus wasn't talking about money. He was talking about this, da, 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 da. We're not going to get into that. But what I'm breaking down is that we kind of, when we take those vows and those traditional vows, especially, we're throwing little darts and little things in there that aren't necessarily scriptural and that aren't necessarily from the word of God and from the mouth of God concerning us.
Right.
Okay. So when we get to the part in sickness and in health, it sounds very noble to say it.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be with you in sickness and in health.
Right.
Right. Whether you get sick, mm-hmm. whether you stay healthy, I'm going to be with you.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. As a believer, our mouths should be always speaking health. Always. Especially in our vows.
Absolutely.
Because when I give you a vow, that's like a covenant contract, but it's just not in writing.
Right. Right.
A vow is a contract. It's my word before God and before other witnesses to you as my spouse, saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm pledging to you.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about sickness or poor or the suffering that comes in marriage, sometimes we need to be mindful that we could be speaking those things. Mm-hmm. Right into our marriage because of the vows that we took. When we got married, like you said, in Hawaii, we didn't do traditional vows.
No.
Right? We didn't do traditional vows. And we didn't even have our spiritual parents that we have now. We didn't even have a full understanding of it. But we didn't take traditional vows of for richer or for poor to death. We didn't do that. We wrote our own vows to one another from our heart because of how we wanted God to bless us. Now, is that to say that things aren't going to happen? There aren't going to be challenges? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying that within my vows of marriage and matrimony before God, do I really need to speak sickness into the equation too?
Right. No.
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 I want to speak passion. I want to speak bliss. I want to speak longevity.
Yes.
I want to speak long life.
Yes.
I want to speak all the promises of God into my vows, into my marriage.
That's right.
So I don't want to speak any room for being poor.
Right.
And so when we say for richer or for poor, that word or says it can be this too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I don't want it to be an alternative.
No.
I want it to be for richer.
Right. For
richer. You understand what I'm saying? Always.
Always. That's
and
right.
people, and there are people who will debate that, well, you know, it can't be. No, it can be.
It can
Because if God said you would be forever above and never beneath, then that's an argument with God.
Right.
If Jesus came and said, oh, beloved, I wish above all things.
Right. There you
that
go.
you would be in good health and prosper. He never mentioned poor health. He never mentioned and being broke.
No.
Beloved, I wish it above all things that you don't be broke.
Right.
And that you be and that you don't get sick and that you don't need this and this and this. He never mentioned that. His words directly were, above all things, I want you to be in good health and in abundance.
Right.
Why did he say that? He didn't go to the antithesis. He didn't go to the or, because his faith level, his thinking level, what he's speaking, he's not even thinking of the contrary. He's not even thinking of the plan B. He's not even thinking of if it may happen like this. No, he's speaking what he wants us to see.
And we have to understand, we really don't understand the passage where it says, life and death
yes.
is in the power of the tongue. So what we speak into the atmosphere takes flight.
Yes.
Okay? We have to realize that. That's why we did not do those vows. We wrote our own vows.
Yes.
Because we don't believe in sickness and in ritual or rapport. We don't believe in that. We believe, like you said, we believe in abundance. We
Yes.
believe in waxing stronger and stronger and stronger. Am I saying that there won't be issues? Of course there will be.
Yes.
But I'm not going to speak the issues
Right.
to come into
Right.
my house,
Right.
to come into my marriage.
Exactly.
The enemy already is trying to do enough. Why
Yes.
would I go ahead and say, here, let me give you some words to tell me and to speak over my household so we can go through this stuff? I'm not going to give him a passage for him to do that.
Right.
So we have to watch what we say.
Exactly.
Because life and death is truly in the power of the tongue.
And it's so,
it is
how the Bible talks about how the tongue is such a small,
very small,
very small organ in our body, but it can lead everything in our lives is our tongue.
right.
And so again, we're going back to in sickness and in health. And so when we put that into our vows, we have to be careful because you're giving way to and in health, in sickness and in. So you're giving the alternative there. No, it's in health only. We're going to speak in health only. We're going to speak in abundance only.
Right.
We're going to speak in life and living only.
Only.
We're going to speak longevity and long life and prosperity only.
That's
now,
right.
you can speak that and you can be traditional. Nothing against your tradition. That's not what we're here saying. But what we're saying is what's helped us, and what we have to remind ourselves of is that this tongue is powerful, and the vows we have given each other with God as our witness and that priest that was there on that island with us, we made a commitment with those vows to one another, and we spoke good things to happen and life to happen. And so I want our young people and those who are looking to get married and single and dating to be mindful of that.
Yes.
Is that you don't have to always go with the tradition. You don't have to go with all the, and research it. Don't take our word for it. Go research, the traditional wedding vows, and you'll see that everything that is being spoken in them vows is not God's best for us. Is not what He wants for us. And so we have to remember that. Now, when we say that in sickness and in health, we tend to think, when people make those vows, they tend to think about one another. But what they don't think about is that you are marrying a family.
Right.
So when you marry a family, now you have a mother-in-law or a father-in-law or brother and sister-in-law that are special in the eyes of your spouse. So if something happens to them, there goes that in sickness. And it may not necessarily be in your immediate family, but because you have blended that family, you've blended those ingredients together to make that cake, guess what? You can't now take out the flour. You can't now go back and take out the eggs. No, that thing's blended now. You're one. And so you can't go back and say, oh, no, I didn't want that. I didn't want to be there when such and such passed away.
Right.
I remember when I was dating my wife,
Yes.
and we were dating early on, and my father had passed.
Yeah.
And this was my girl at the time. This is my girlfriend, y'all. And she was there like my wife, going through the most traumatic, heartbreaking event that ever happened in my life. Was losing my dad suddenly. I didn't get no warning. I didn't get no progress of seeing him in the hospital decline or what. No, I didn't see any of that. It was just like one day here, next day gone. This woman was there, and I'm in my early 20s, and I don't know how to handle none of it. And she's there because, one, thank God, she knew how to be a wife. She wasn't my wife, but she knew how to be a wife from her previous marriage. And so she knew how to console me, and she knew how to show empathy for me. Not sympathy, but empathy. Empathy puts on the shoes of that person. Empathy steps in that person's place and feels what that person is feeling. And so that's what my wife did. So fast forward to now, and we'll start talking about current events. Fast forward to now and recently, where my wife's mother has been having physical illness challenges.
And I'll talk about
And my wife will dig more into that. But what it has caused me to do is to say, now this ain't my girlfriend no more. This is my wife. So again, we did the beating of the eggs, and we did the beating of the flour, and we mixed this thing together. So we're one now. So now I can't just jump out and say, "Oh man, that's not. I didn't sign up for this." And that's what people are doing. And that's what's scary in marriage right now. If people are bouncing and saying, "Well, you know, I didn't sign up for that." No, you did, especially if you included in your vows in sickness and in health. Because again, the sickness ain't just about you and your wife or you and your husband. That sickness and in health also includes your family and your extended family now that you have become one with your spouse.
Absolutely. And I wanted to go back and I wanted to acknowledge those that have come on. Our sister Ada Green, thank you for coming on, sister.
Oh, Ada, what's
Good
going
to
on?
see
Absolutely.
you. And Papa is on. I know you're busy, but we see you there.
What's
and
going
we
on, Papa?
thank you so much for tuning in. Just wanted to say something to you guys. And our son Joshua, who should be resting,
All
is
the way in
on,
Nigeria.
and all the way in Abuja.
What's going on, son?
What's going on, son? But I wanted to acknowledge you all and just thank you for tuning in. And those, again, that's on all the other social media platforms, thank you. We can't see you, but we thank you so much. And make sure you guys, just like Ada is doing, make sure you guys, we want dialogue. We want feedback. Please interact. This is an interactive show.
Want you to
and we
interact,
want you to
guys.
interact because we're all in this together,
Yes.
okay? I wanted to go back to what you were saying about, and thank you so much for what you said about when you were going through when your father suddenly passed.
Yes.
You guys, I met my now husband's father the weekend before he passed. That Saturday we went out and had a wonderful dinner. And Monday afternoon, I think it was, you were getting off work and your sister called you and told you to come to the house.
Yes.
And his dad had passed. Now, I mean, suddenly. And when, again, this was my boyfriend at the time, and that was so hard. To see him hurting. I didn't know what to do. All I could do was say, I'm here, you know, to love him, be there for him, and to go through the process of the grieving with him, to help him through it. And it's taken some time. He'll tell you, it's taken some years, you guys, because when someone is suddenly gone, it's not like it's just, oh, okay, get over it and keep going. No, he was younger then at that time, and we were dating. And you know, he could have went to someone else. I mean, my husband, even that night, he came straight to the house, to my home, and we just sit up and cried. You know, I cried with him. I prayed over him, and you know, was there for him. You know, like you were saying earlier, things are going to happen. You know, things that you don't know, that you don't see coming. How are you going to handle those things? We unfortunately got a taste of it before we got married. Right. You know,
and I think that was one of the strengtheners, if I can use that word, one of the strengtheners that we needed for our marriage before we got married.
Yes.
Right? Like Ada's saying, marriage is not for babies, marriage is for grown folk.
Ooh,
and see, there's a lot of people out here playing with marriage right now.
You said that, yes.
There's and I'm just going to throw this as a sidebar. There was a sister I was watching the other day. I think she was on a podcast or something, and I didn't catch all of her interview, but she was talking about how she couldn't marry a trash collector, right? A guy, you know, she couldn't marry someone who collects trash and in waste management or whatever.
Oh gosh.
And some of her statements were so childish that I couldn't even watch the whole interview. But I thought about that just in that little brief couple of seconds that I did catch her statement. I said, you know what? What happens if you get the billionaire You get the big baller shot caller, and he got the Bentley and the Benz, and he put you in a fly 10,000 square foot crib, and everything is Gucci. What happens when life happens?
Right.
What you gonna say? Because you didn't sign up for that. You signed up to be enlaced in Gucci and Louis and Uchi and Bucci and diamonds and gold and platinum. You signed up to drive the Lamborghini and the Bentley. You signed up for shopping sprees and to be wifey with the, the 10 carat ring or whatever it is. You signed up for that. But what's going to happen when life hits? Like Ada said, this ain't for babies, man. It's for grown folk.
And I'm glad our son is on because, very handsome young man. I know women are after him like left and right. And I want him to get this information so he will know how to pick a wife.
Right.
When the money starts rolling in, if the money gets there and your wife comes after that, how to pick a wife. What to look for, because you're absolutely right.
And I'm gonna tell my fellas, and I'm glad you said that because our sons are on.
Yes.
If possible, to my fellas, you want a wife that is in the development stage with you.
That's good.
I'm gonna tell you why somebody like Tyler Perry isn't married. Tyler Perry's worth $1 billion USD. The man he's building right now maybe like a 20,000, 50,000 square foot home in Atlanta. Huge crib. Ain't got no wife. He got a son by a woman that he impregnated, but that's not his wife. Why am I saying that? Because it's tougher, fellas, when you come into that thing, when you come into that wealth. It's harder. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's harder to find that woman, that wife. See, you don't want a woman. You want a wife. And that was one of the things I prayed for before I even met her. When I wrote God my list, I asked him for a wife. Square business. I asked God I didn't ask him for a woman. I asked him for a wife. So when you are going to go out here and you're going to date, or you're believing God for that woman that you want that woman to be in it with you, in the trenches with you, building, growing, so that she appreciates, because you want to see that she appreciates you when you ain't got nothing, when it's just raw and all you got is your dreams and $1 in your pocket.
Right.
If she can ride with you when you have nothing, when you're taking transportation, when you're on the bus, when she can ride with you when you can't pay for the meals, when you go out to eat, or you go to lunch, or you go to the movie, and your card declines and she whips out her card and she can pay too. If she can rock with you and still believe in your dreams when you're going through the most depressing stages of your life, if she can do all that while you have nothing, but she sees that you're building, and she's your biggest encourager, that's when you know you have a wife.
And also, if you are a career woman or a woman who has your own business, or if you started your own business, but your husband or your spouse or whoever you're looking at maybe in a blue collar worker or working corporate America, can you handle having a woman that is, a boss? You guys, they say this, but she's a boss. She really has a company. She really has a business. She has employees, or she's a minister. She has, she has a congregation. She has a church. Right. Can you handle that situation of her being in the limelight, being pulled at more, looked at as more important? Can you handle that? So it goes both ways. Right. You want someone that will be there for you and with you, like you said, in the infancy stages. Because if you get someone that is is not. Like you were talking about with the young lady that you saw on a podcast that was talking about, oh, she didn't want no garbage collector or what have you, and whatever, all of that. See that right there? That's trivial.
See,
let me just say this.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is trivial. That's superficial stuff.
Right.
Because guess what? One thing when you're dating, first of all, you sit down and talk. Do the man have dreams and goals and visions? Is he sharing it with you? Is he showing you these? If you're looking to marry him or he's looking to marry you, is he showing you this? Baby, it might take a little time, but will you rock with me? Nobody just gets in anything. If you just get in something and you just want the Gucci and the Louis and the big diamond and the big diamonds and earrings and all this stuff, the Bible says this stuff fades away.
Right.
But at the end of this, do you have somebody that's going to be with you when times get tough and time gets hard, if it gets there? Right. You go through sickness and illnesses and you go through death, like my husband went through with his dad. And we're going to talk about my mother.
Right.
And can you handle that? I just want to say this. I hope we're okay to say this right now. But, you notice that we haven't been on the show for a while. You guys, because of my mom. My mother has been sick. She was rushed to the hospital 3 weeks ago. My parents, back in 2018, if I can paint the story a little bit.
Absolutely.
Back in 2018, my husband and I were we were part owners in another company. And we were on our way to Africa, Nigeria at the time to do business. We were going to be gone for about three weeks. Yes. We were going to be gone. So I went to visit my parents. My brother and I both were there the same weekend. We began to start talking at that time because my mom and dad are in the 80s and 90s. We began to start talking about assisted living. My parents could afford that. And looking for them to get, put them in a place that they could still enjoy life and be together. And that particular weekend when we did that, we didn't know that was the perfect weekend. We found 2 places and we narrowed it down to one. Ended up, while we were in Nigeria, I believe a week, we were into the trip, my mother got sick and she was rushed to the hospital. At that time, I didn't know all of what was going on. My brother kept me informed, but she had fluid on the brain, which starts a form of dementia. My mother got real sick. She went through rehab. She got out. Well, the assisted living that we found for my mom and my dad, it was even in that was hard. Right. It was hard to take them from their home. It was hard to, my dad was not happy with it. My mother wasn't either. But we knew that it was time. They couldn't live there by themselves alone. And so fast forward, they've been in that assisted living since 2018. Well, 3 weeks ago, my mother started complaining about some things that was bothering her. We had a monitor in their room so we could see them, talk to them on it to see if they're okay. Well, that particular day, she wasn't feeling well even the more. She stopped going to the dining room. She stopped going with my dad. He's in a wheelchair. She stopped walking. They were starting to have to help her go to the bathroom, all of this. So we were thinking getting the doctor the next day to come out to check her. She didn't make it. So she was rushed by ambulance to the local hospital there in East Texas. My mother, that hospital, we had to end up transferring her from that hospital to the bigger hospital, which is called Longview, Texas. My mother has been in the hospital for 3 weeks. Right. 3 weeks. My mother is 88 years old. My dad is 96. Now, when I say this, these people don't look their ages, but they are. They've worked hard all their lives. Right. And when my mother got sick, it got to the point where the doctors didn't know what was going on with her. She had an infection. They couldn't find it. They found out she had pneumonia and flu at the same time. You couldn't touch her. She slept most of the time. I'm going back and forth 2 days a week to be with my mother, to help her, to see what's going on. Family is going by. My best friend, Shakita Love, I want to say shout out to her for being there for my mother. Her mother is sick. Right. Going through all of that. So that is the reason why you haven't seen us or saw us on this show for 3 weeks, because my mother has been sick. As of today, my mother has gotten better. She's no longer sleeping as much. It's so much in between. But we have her in rehab. So today they said that they're sending her over for rehab so she can start the process of rehabilitation so she can get back to my father. At the same time, we're trying to take care of our father, my brother and I. My husband has been there. Our daughter has been there, trying to help them and help him through the process of this. It's been hard for him because when he walked out of and it's hard for me not to cry because my dad and mom been married 61 years. And he said to us, and my husband heard him, I don't want to leave my wife. We had to take him back to the assisted living, and mom stayed in the hospital. This was Sunday. Right. I needed my husband through this process. I needed the people that have been praying for me, my spiritual parents, my friends, Shakita Love, Pam and Lydia. People that have been praying, people that have been praying for me, Roberta, people who have called, text, people who have cashed out me. You need gas to go down there back and forth. Mm-hmm. Roberta Pennington. Mm-hmm. I'll ride with you. I'll go with you. I'll be there for you. And my husband being there with me through this process. No, they're not going to live forever. We know that. Right. But when it's your parents, just like when his dad passed, it's my mother. It's my dad. You know, my brother and I. It's just the two of us. So, are you going to be able to stand when your spouse is hurting? Right. Are you going to be there? Are you going to console them, communicate, be there for them, help them through the process of seeing them go through losing a parent, or going through the sickness of seeing your wife going through your parents sick? Right. You know, my mother, they're telling us she got to have a feeding tube. You got to put it in because she can't eat solid foods anymore. You know. I
just want to jump in there real quick, honey. First of all, thank you for being vulnerable to share that. And I want people to understand something. When I married my wife, I understood and I knew that her parents were older.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yes.
I knew that my wife's parents were older. So I knew that my in-laws, I don't call them my in-laws, but I knew that my future in-laws were older. Yeah. Her parents are older than my grandparents, my grandmother. Yeah. So I knew that going into the marriage, going into me dating her, right, that was going to meet us in the future. Yeah. Okay. When I was younger, in my 20s and my 30s, I'll be honest, I was selfish. Because when you're young and you're married, you want your wife and your spouse to you. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then you don't want what you call a distraction. You don't want the distractions of things that are happening outside of your home and your marriage to start bleeding into your marriage.
Right. Right.
Can I be honest here?
Yes, please.
So me being 13 years younger than my wife, life started happening as our marriage started getting more challenging because one of the things that her parents were getting older. They had to leave their home. They had to go into assisted living, like my wife was saying. So all of these different life changes were happening on her side of the family. Right. That were ultimately affecting us and our marriage and affecting her. And I had to be understanding of that. So I couldn't be the one where, oh, I want to take my flour back in making this cake and she can have her eggs back. No, we beat these things together. We blended this thing together. Yes. And so in doing that, I made that vow to her to stay. I made the vows to her to stick through it when it got hard. When we were in Africa and she was getting the call that her mother was sick, I remember we were in Jabi Lake Mall
Yes.
in Nigeria, in Abuja.
Right.
And I told her, I was talking to the Lord about it. And the Lord told me to tell her mom to what? Drink water.
Drink water.
We were out on the lake.
Yes.
And I told you to tell your mom is to take some bottled water, pray over it, and drink it.
Right.
Did she not get better?
She did. She did.
Now, why do I say that, fam? Because it don't matter if the brother is working as a janitor, or it doesn't matter if he's a billionaire. Is he going to stick it out and stay with you when it gets hard? I see Ada was saying that her and her husband went through a tumultuous time, that their 2-year-old son lost his battle with cancer. And I can only imagine the pain, the anguish, how that affected the marriage, how that may have affected intimacy, how that may have affected all these things. And at that point, you don't care who has what.
They
You
lost
don't,
their grandson.
right.
It was
the grandson, excuse me.
Yes.
You don't care about how much money somebody's making. You don't care about what kind of car you driving. When life hits you in the mouth, you care about what kind of fortitude, what kind of strength does that person have inside them. You don't care about how cute they are then.
Right.
Oh, he got muscles and he got a 6-pack. Nigga, so what? Can you get us through life?
Right.
Oh, she fine and she got hips and oh man, she know how to work that thing. So what? Can you get us through life together?
Right.
And the reason why I'm passionate about it is because I'm seeing too many marriages built on superficial fluff and crap nowadays.
Right.
And then we're seeing 1 year, 2 year, 3 year marriages go down the toilet. Why? Because nobody wants to sit down nowadays and count the cost.
They don't. And the same thing with Ada. Our daughter went through the same thing. She lost a baby.
Exactly.
Lost a baby. We're in the hospital.
We're in the hospital.
And she had to, at 6 months pregnant, she was grown.
Yes.
Lost a baby. We went through it. We had to go through that with her. She don't mind me telling it because we've talked about it. She's lost a child. And we had to watch her hold that baby.
And the baby's name
was London. And you know why? Because she loves Pop. This is what she calls my husband. She loves him so much. She knows he loves London.
London is one of my favorite cities in the world.
Right.
And she named the boy after my favorite city.
Yes.
So that affected all of us.
Yes.
But when it affects us, you guys, you don't tuck tail and run. You don't say, oh, you know what, I'm out. I didn't sign up for this. No, when you said in your vows, especially if you made them traditional vows for better or for worse, for sickness and in health, then you did sign up for that. And so life, like my wife was saying, the past couple of weeks where we couldn't do the show, life was happening. And we thank God because we went into that hospital room and we prayed. And we had people back here at home and we had people abroad that were praying. We had our sons and our extended family over in Africa praying. We had people around the world and here praying for real, for real. And this 88-year-old woman, I told my wife, I said, she will not be in this hospital by the end of the week.
He did.
I said, we're not receiving what these doctors and professionals or whatever, we're not receiving that. I told my wife when we were there this weekend, I said, this will be the last week this woman will not be in this hospital this time next weekend.
And we told her that and she said the same thing.
And she said the same thing. And we asked her, do you want to live? Because I'm going to tell you something, you guys. You cannot pray against the person's will. I tell my wife this all the time.
It's the truth.
Sometimes we're praying for people, we're praying this, and I'm praying this, but you can't pray against someone else's will.
You can't.
And so if somebody else doesn't want to live, or if they don't want to kick the habit, or if they don't want to kick the addiction, or if they don't want to stop doing what they're doing, guess what? You can pray all you want to, but you will pray amiss because that person's stubborn will is saying, you know what? I want to stay in this situation. I want to stay bitter. I want to stay ugly. I want to stay mean. Until they break their will, your prayers can't get through. And so when we asked her mom, do you want to live? And she said yes. I said, then that's all we need to know.
Yes.
And that's all I got to rock with.
And see, I expected, and I'm going to say why I expected it, because it's something I prayed for. In my family, on both sides of my family, there's long life.
Right.
I'm talking hundreds. My mother's mother lived to be 100, and she was 109. She was just a week from being 109 years old.
Right.
And when my grandmother died, she had 100 grandkids. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother, we're one of them. Grandkids, kids, great grandkids, and great grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
I expect her to live a long life.
Right.
I expect my aunt, the baby that's living, to live a long life. I expect my dad to live past his hundreds.
Yes.
I expect it because I prayed for it. I asked God for it.
Right.
So what you were saying earlier, you have to have someone that is there for you, that will be in the trenches with you. That what Ada said, she said her husband held her many nights crying.
Yeah.
You got to have someone that, let me get you to understand something. This is something we were talking about. Men to men, you're fixers. We understand that. We know that if you can't fix it, you feel helpless. Let me tell you something, what a real woman wants. They know that when there's things that you cannot fix, if you would say, I'm here, baby.
Right.
Baby, I'm here. What can I do? Baby, I'm here. What can I help you with? How can I help you? I want to do what I can to be here for you. When you put down the Mr. Fix-It man mentality and just be in there, hold your wife, like Ada's saying, hold her while she's crying. Hold her when she don't understand. Hug her when she needs that hug. That's you fixing it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's you fixing it.
Wow.
So you're important. I have to get my men to understand this. You're so important to us. I don't care what society says. I don't care what society is doing. You are important in our communities, in our home, for our children. You're so important. And you're needed.
Yes.
So don't look at yourself, down on yourself because you're in a certain place at this time in this stage. If you got that wife there, that fiance there that's rocking with you and say, hey, baby, we're going to do this together, man, you're rich.
I'm going to tell you something. Thank you for saying that, because to my fellas, you're not going to always be able to fix it.
No.
And like my wife was saying, we are innate fixers.
Right.
That we're wired that way. We're wired to want to fix it and bring solutions. Before there was Eve, guess who was dressing and tilling the garden? It was Adam.
It was Adam.
Read your book.
That's right. He was.
He was the landscaper and the gardener before Eve ever got there.
That's right.
God put that man to work first. So it's built in us to be fixers, to beautify the home so that the wife can come in and make that bad boy even better when she gets there.
Right.
But there are some things that we can't fix that you're going to need God for. And God will put you in some situations where it's you and him. And he knows you can't fix it.
Right.
And when it came to my wife's mother, I couldn't fix it. I wanted to. Everything in me wants to, I want to pray and be done with it and be like, boom, you healed. It's on and popping. Let's go home. I want to, but that's not me. That's not in my capability. But what I can do is, like my wife said, I can be there.
Yes.
I can pray for her. I can console her.
Yes.
I can hold her hand. I can take her mind off the ease with some things.
Yes. Yes.
So to all my young people, my single people who want to be married, understand that this is not no game, family. This is not no game.
But it can be so rewarding.
It can be so rewarding, and it can be so beautiful.
Beautiful.
And it can be so pleasurable.
But it's
all
work.
those things. But it's work, family. It's work.
And it's worth it.
It's work. And it's worth it.
Yes.
But it's work.
Yes.
Are you willing to put in the work that it's going to take to maintain it and sustain it and to grow it? Yes. I think about a business. A lot of people, oh, I want to start a business. Oh, I want, no, you just don't want to work a 9-to-5 anymore. Because if you really fully understood the responsibility that comes with owning a business, you understand that you got to be the one that's doing payroll and taxes.
Yes.
You got to be the one that you're cutting the check for people's families. You have a responsibility outside of yourself to take care of families now when you're talking about business. So it's not just, oh, I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job anymore. I want a stream of income. No, when you own a business, there's responsibilities. That's why Jesus said, who among you is going to build this tower and not first count the cost?
Count the cost.
And I even want to expound on that real quick before we go off.
Okay.
Jesus didn't say build a house. He said build a tower, which means that when you build a tower, it's taller, it's higher than a house. On a house, you can only see on your level for your immediate need, for your immediate family. But when you count the cost to build a tower oversees many people's house. A tower oversees many people's livelihoods.
That's truth.
So he asked the question, who among you would do that? You wouldn't. You would not count the cost before you build this tower. So if you're going to get into a relationship with a person and you're looking to get married, you better make sure, family, that you're counting the cost. You better make sure that you have the strength and the fortitude, because when the darts come, and they gonna come at you. Now, this isn't to scare you and say, oh man, I don't want to get married, because like I said, and like my wife said, marriage is beautiful. It's off the rack. It's beautiful. I love it. I've been wanting to be married since I was 16 years old. But I didn't understand marriage. And every day I'm understanding marriage. Every day I'm understanding as a young man that I've got to put my ego aside and my pride aside and the way I want to do things and the way I figure it should work. I have to put that stuff aside and say, the bigger picture here is the benefit of both of us.
Yes.
I want to say something to our son Joshua, who's on, and maybe Dan is on, and other young men, particularly black men that may be watching. I don't care what society is saying to you about you. You are vital and you are important. We as men are important.
Yes.
I don't care what other people are doing and celebrating and, oh, well, no, you can do that. No. The man is important.
Absolutely.
We are needed. We're needed in the lives of our daughters.
Yes.
We're needed in the lives of our sons. We're needed in our communities. Yes. We're needed in our churches. Our churches are empty of us, y'all.
Right.
Sunday after Sunday. This is no slight. But Sunday after Sunday, I'm seeing it from a different vantage point. Where are the men? I'm seeing single women coming there with their children. Ain't no husbands. Ain't no men but a handful of us. Where we at? We are important. Absolutely. And we are necessary.
Absolutely.
In spite of what, and see, the enemy has been up after us as men since the beginning of time.
Yes.
You knew that with Moses. Pharaoh said, yo, kill all the boys. When Jesus came on the scene, Herod put out a decree, kill every boy in the land 2 years old and under. The devil has been after us as men since the beginning of time. He ain't getting you and he ain't getting me. But we have to know who we are.
That's right.
And we have to stand our ground.
That's right.
And we have to stick it in there with our families,
Yes.
with our children,
Yes.
whether we got baby mamas or not.
Right.
You produce them children, you stay in their lives.
That's right.
Don't duck and dodge child support, no. And don't just give child support. Be visible. Be a father.
Yeah.
Not just a daddy, be a father. And especially if you're married. To my married men, you have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. If she's smiling from ear to ear, if she's loving life and enjoying it, it is a reflection of you. I don't understand how you can travel to some foreign countries, third world countries, and you have governments that are corrupt. Why do I say that? Because what those dictators and those bad governments don't understand is that the poverty that is depicted in your country and that is prevalent in your country is a reflection of how bad your leadership is. Same thing with your home.
That's good. That's good.
If your wife is hurting, if your kids are damaged and hurting, if your wife has never really nothing to smile about, she got to put on a smile, and she really don't feel that thing, and you think you big and bad because you wear the pants and you got the penis, you are a corrupt, incapable dictator. And what you are running and ruling is a failure.
And it will show.
And it will show. And people see it. And you can hide it all the way you think you can. You can hide it behind a mask. You can hide it behind money and cars and Gucci and Louis. You can hide it behind church and ministries and platforms and conferences. You can hide it all you want to. But the truth is that you're a failure because you don't want to fix you, leader. You don't want to fix you, dictator. And guess what? Everything that you're running is failing. You're trying to piece it together and you're trying to make sense of it. But you are not fixing the situation. You're actually making it worse.
Right. So now is the time to stop.
Now is the time to stop
and look and assess the situation.
And fix it.
Right. It doesn't matter who fault it is. It doesn't matter what has happened. You have to stop and say, if I don't, this train is going to go off the track.
Right.
That's just the bottom line.
And we all know warning comes before destruction.
It does. It does.
Who needs to keep sounding the alarm?
Right.
For us as men to wake up. Are we not tired of every day waking up in this country and seeing our kids gunned down in the streets?
Right.
We can't go to the mall. We can't go to the movies.
Right.
We can't go to church. Why? Poor leadership and men not knowing who they are and whose they are. You are important and you're vital.
Right.
So my prayer for us is that we change what we're saying.
Right.
We change our vows. We change the declarations that we're saying.
Right.
And we throw out for worse. So worse doesn't come. And we throw out poorer so we don't have to experience poverty. And then we throw out sickness.
Yes.
So that we can always be in health.
Right.
And do what it is that we've been put here to do.
That's right.
To be an example for people.
Yes. Yes.
To be a light for people. We are the light of the world, fam.
Right.
Ain't nobody else coming but us. There is no other light coming for this darkness that we see out here.
Right.
We are that light.
Right.
I think it's about time that we go ahead and step into it
Yes.
and be that light that we're supposed to be.
I agree.
And so you guys, we thank you for tuning in, but don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back after this quick commercial break, and then we're going to end our show for tonight. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with Living More.
Right back.
Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from. When it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com.
It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landisheray. All right, you guys, and we're back with Living More with the Morgans. And again, thank you so much for tuning into tonight's episode entitled In Sickness and in Health. And as we close tonight's show, we have been through our challenges. Every marriage goes through them. But I believe that even though we've been in the midst of the storm, storms don't last always. And just like Jesus, we're going to get to the other side.
Yes.
We're not going to sit in this storm and wallow and panic. Oh, it's rocking our boat. And a little bit of water may get in the boat from time to time. And that wind is whipping around our heads. But you know what? If we said we're getting to the other side, we're going to get to the other side. And the good news is that you are too.
Yes.
You are built and created
Yes.
and handcrafted by God to get to the other side.
Yes.
You are a storm stopper.
Yeah.
Because he said, peace, be still.
Yes.
Keep your peace in the midst of all that's going on right now.
Yes.
All of the hoopla and headaches, all the things that media is throwing at us, all of the stuff that the world wants us to become that's dark and ugly. Stay focused on who you are.
Yes.
Stay focused on what's pure,
Yes.
on what's good,
Yes.
what's nurturing, and what gives light and love.
Yes.
Y'all, we built to withstand all this stuff.
All of it.
'Cause the book says that we're more than conquerors.
Yes.
And even though life is throwing things at us, we're built to conquer it.
We're built to conquer it.
And we're going to.
And we will.
Happy birthday to you, baby.
Thank you. And I wanted to say to all that shouted me out, that said happy birthday on Facebook, Instagram, those who've called, those who text, those who called and prayed over me, pray for me, those who sent cash out. My cash out was ringing off the hook. I want to say to you guys, I haven't gotten to everyone on my husband's page, but I will, because you took the time out to say happy birthday to me. That means so much to me. And I will take the time out to go back and to each one of you to say thank you.
And thank you guys. Yes.
Thank you
for
so
making
much.
my wife feel so special on her birthday.
Yes.
And I saw all the love and I saw all the gratitude and appreciation that she was getting. And this woman doesn't know I'm going to say this, but she is everything that y'all see and more than that. She is that. She loves big. She loves hard. It's genuine. It's not contrived. It's not put on. It's not fake. It's not phony. She loves hard and she loves big. And she loves regardless of race, creed, color, background,
Right.
orientation. She just loves.
Yeah.
And that's how we were built, y'all.
Right.
And sometimes life happens where it tries to make you not be who God has created you to be.
Right.
And you have to be strong enough and have the strength to continue being who you are in spite of the things that the world is throwing at you.
And I also want to say, too, while we're here, is I want to say thank you. My mom loves you. And for you to be there for her and for her to see your face, that means everything to me, everything to us. Being there on my birthday. I know you couldn't take me around the world yet, but he will. But just being there, loving me, supporting me, being my ride or die.
Absolutely.
I love you so much.
Love you, baby. I love you too.
And I thank God for you.
Love you too. Thank
Love
you.
you too.
So you guys, we're going to do this.
We're gonna do it.
And we know that you're going to do it too.
Yeah.
Why? Because we got to keep living.
Yep.
There's more life,
More life,
more love,
more love,
and there's more to explore.
more to explore.
And you're doing it here with Living More with the Morgans.
Yes.
We'll see you next Tuesday night, you guys.
Tuesday.
We're back.
We're back.
Next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 Eastern. Tell all your peoples, again, get on social media. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram,
Yes.
Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the place, you guys.
Yes. Oh, and shout out to my sons and my spiritual daughter for their fantastic video.
Oh, that video was dope.
Oh, my God.
Snap, that video was dope.
Joshua, you are the clone
Josh.
of your spiritual dad.
Man.
I promise you. Thank you, my love.
That was awesome.
I love you, Joshua.
Oh,
I
that was
love
awesome.
you, Daniel. I love you, Patience and Julius.
Yes.
And to my G babies, they call me G mommy, and this is G daddy. We love you guys,
Love you guys
so much.
Shout out to Nigeria, man.
Shout out to Nigeria.
Nigeria's in the building, man. Y'all got our hearts for real,
For
out there,
real, for
Nigeria.
real.
So
Some of y'all tough, but we
yeah, y'all tough though.
we rock with you.
But we rock with you. We some Americans that rock with you out there in Nigeria. But we love you
Yes,
guys.
we love you
Again, thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank
Again, next
you.
Tuesday night, you guys, 8:30 p.m. Central. Be right back here on Living More with the Morgans. Until then, you guys have a blessed week and have a good one.
See you soon.